Hi, friends and fellow viewers. Welcome to yet another episode of Coffee Conversation powered by the Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, Emerging India Forum, TIF, and India Business Road Chamber of Commerce, IBG, and our technology partner, Prime Infotech Solution. The name of today's series is Emerging Lawyer, and the topic of our today's conversation is 7 things about corporate and commercial law practice you should definitely be knowing. Hi, my name is Jolly Singh and I am a legal tech at Prime Infotech Solution. Today, I will be co-hosting this conversation with Mr. Mansoor Thakral and Mr. Virani sir will be hosting our today's conversation. For our today's coffee conversation, we have today with us Rashna Jehani. Rashna Jehani is a practicing lawyer since 2012. Presently, she is an associate partner at ZMC Law. She has worked with leading law firms. She maintains a diverse corporate practice which takes into its fold technology laws, mergers and acquisitions, joint ventures, infrastructure projects, employment, as well as environmental matters, as well as advising clients with respect to commercial contracts, private equity, and general corporate matters. She has authored several legal articles and papers published in law journals. We welcome you, ma'am. Our conversation will be divided into 3 parts as in professional journey questions, which will be taken up by Mr. Mansoor Thakral and Mr. Amirr Virani. I will be taking up personal journey questions and we will be finishing off our today's conversation with doing a fun element round. Now, let's get started with today's conversation. Over to you, Mansoor.
Thank you, Jolly. Right, we're very grateful to have you here, Rashna. All right. So before we start the conversations, let's begin the conversations. So we want to know that you started your journey in 2015 and we are in 2022. So could you tell us how long you have come away and could you explain your story to us, like how it all started?
Right. So thank you firstly, Mansoor, Mr. Amirr and Jolly also for having me. And I look forward to having with all of y'all. So my journey actually started, Mansoor, in 2012 when I graduated. And then I also, of course, during the course of my practice, I ended up doing 2 masters, etc., which I'll be talking about. But it's been about I think 10 years now that I have been in this profession, and the journey I would say has so far been immensely fulfilling for me in terms of my practice, and I have to still say that I have a lot more to learn because I have been, but I am very certain of the fact that the journey is going to continue for many more years to come, and I have a long way ahead of me for the same. I would say the striking part of my journey, which I would sort of want to highlight, which I think even Jolly mentioned, was the variedness of the work that I have undertaken so far. This could be, in my corporate practice, with regards to having advised and assisted on a variety of matters ranging from advising multinationals as well as domestic investors in, say, a private equity transaction, a debt transaction, to representing a global manufacturer in an arbitration claim, being the empaneled lawyer for lenders, so undertaking quite a few of these finance-related transactions as well. Through the course of these matters and working on them, I was able to actually even get conversant with the different laws that were applicable to each of these matters as well. So during the course of me undertaking these mandates, I was able to familiarize myself with company law, with contract law, banking law, finance law as well. So that was also quite enriching. And I would also like to highlight the fact that, in the wake of globalization, India remains as one of these very lucrative destinations for investments. If we are to see numbers, in 2021, it was about USD, I think 82 billion that the investments were. In 2022, it has risen clearly by $1 billion more. So now we're looking at USD 83.6 billion. And first, we're only looking at that number to increase. So clearly, we feel that the investors seem to look at India as a promising destination in which very important for us to also know what rules, regulations, policy decisions apply to them, and how is it that we can probably also look at our regulations and policies in light of those. So, it's important for us to have that kind of balance. Our policies, our laws, and the approaches that we as lawyers take should be not just domestic, but also having that international perspective.
Okay, so moving on to the next question. Okay, if you could mention 3 key resources required to survive in the commercial and corporate industry, what would be your 3 key resources?
Sure. Okay. So I would, yes, 3 definitely we can highlight, but we may need a little more than 3. Yeah, but I would say the fundamental one, at least which comes to my mind firstly, is commercial awareness. Now, when we talk about commercial awareness, like I just mentioned, it's important to have an overview of the transnational laws, which is not just the laws that are applicable here, but also overseas. Commercial awareness goes a little beyond actually just the legal part. So here we're talking about developments, current developments in the market. So for instance, right now, if we were to look at development of e-commerce is something which is very right now out there in the market. We have large e-retailers who are going online, offering a wide range of goods, services. There are many online portals which are acting as aggregators. That's very important. The annual CAGR, which is your compound annual growth rate for e-commerce, portals, has been pegged, or rather has been, at 35%. That's a huge return that we're looking at in the market for e-commerce. Of course, again, like I said, since India is a very promising investment hub, we are looking at more investments coming in that particular sector as well. Digital transformation, of course, I'm sure we'll be talking more about that. That is something which is right now in the whole current development scenario. So that is something which is very crucial. So yeah, basically commercial awareness is something which is important for a corporate lawyer, is what I feel, because when a client, say, comes to you with a proposal, say for instance, just a business idea, and they want then you to advise them with regards to their structuring, their formulation of what kind of an entity would be the best for them. Or say, for instance, with regards to their investments, how is it that they should route their investments in the best possible way? That is when your commercial understanding and your sort of awareness of the current developments will help you in structuring that particular plan or that particular advice that you will be able to mete out to them, wherein you will be able to see not just the short term, but also the long-term implications of what is it that they want to do in the future with regards to that business proposal that they've got to you in light of the present scenario or the situation that is there. And that can, of course, be ascertained then, as we call it, the SWOT analysis that you do. The SWOT is basically you analyze the strengths, the weaknesses, the opportunities, and the threats which that client might have. So when it comes to the strengths and the weaknesses, of course, you can ascertain that by having a discussion with your clients, by understanding what the client's business is. When it comes to your opportunities and your threats, of course, the opportunities that the client would have would depend a lot on, like I said, the market scenario, the situation, the developments in that particular sector that you will know of only if you've kept yourself updated with that. And threats would be more or less, with regards to the competitors that are existing. How is it that you can sort of work around that? So yeah, my number 1 would be, I think, commercial awareness. My number 2 would be for any lawyer, which I'm sure all students also, all upcoming lawyers would be aware of, is your the ability to be diligent and your eye for detail. That is something which is very crucial. You have to be diligent, whether it's with regards to you being, it doesn't matter if you're a litigation lawyer, if you're a corporate lawyer, you have to have an eye for a detail. There cannot be, misspellings or typographical errors. Those things also tend to have like a bad impression with regards to what is it that you send out to your client. Apart from that, diligence, like corporate lawyers would be undertaking legal diligences. So that time it is crucial for you to look at every document that you are viewing in light of what are the potential apprehensions or issues. So to be able to carve those out, flag those out, and then decide on the mitigation factors, it's important that you are diligent in general. Apart from that, even when it comes to, say, documentation of your shareholders agreement, your share purchase agreement, whichever side you're representing, whether you're for the promoter or the investors, of course, they each have their individual rights, which you would have to safeguard. And for that to be addressed appropriately in the documents, it's important for you to be sort of diligent with regards to the same. So yeah, my number 2 would be diligence. And I think my number 3 would be, again, for a lawyer, something which is important is your communication. How is it that you're able to communicate? And you have to have like sort of good, of course, that is something that you can work on, which will happen over a period of time. But it's important to have good oral and written communication skills. Having said that, I feel communication is a little beyond just writing and reading. It is also about listening. It's also about understanding what the other person, in the professional case, it would be what the client wants to sort of convey to you. What is it that they are looking for, and how is it that you can help them achieve that? So I think all these 3 things would be important as well from the communication point of view. And of course, that can be honed by, you undertaking like a public speaking thing, or you undertaking some writing course, try and write as much as possible, attend these public speaking events, and just try and improve more listening by being more patient to what probably the other person wants to say. So yeah, these 3 would be my key. And then of course there are other soft skills, etc., that you would need to
You can add a 4th one, not a problem. Definitely, if you need to.
Yeah, no, I mean, I would say there are quite a few like research, that is also something which is important for a lawyer. So that I think it's important for you to develop early on in life itself when you're just starting out, because that's when you need to know the law and you need to understand where to look for, even if you don't know about it, because it's not possible to know about every law at every given point of time, but you should at least know where to look for it so that you can then look for it and then get an answer for it. So yeah, these would be at least a couple.
All right, the couple folks. We're talking about research, okay? We noticed that you have how did you grab a lot of opportunities to expose yourself to corporate mergers and finance and or infrastructure transactions, and even quite a few of dispute resolutions work also. So how were you able to open yourself up to this, or grab these opportunities?
Right. So I think I was actually very fortunate as well to be able to make the most of these opportunities when they were there. To a very large extent, they were conscious decisions as well, which I decided to make right from the beginning, that I wanted to work in a place wherein I was able to do as many diverse matters as possible, which is where even when I started off, it was a general corporate team. So I was fortunate enough to having worked on transactions across sectors, which were, say, in the media, say, in the banking sector as well. There was a project finance deal as well. So again, the variety happened there. Moving thereon, I was fortunate enough to having worked in a pure banking related team as well, which made me do like these lending transactions, be empaneled on a consortium of lenders. So all your credit agreements, etc., were facility agreements, loans, guarantees, security documents. That was something I was fortunate enough to learn and sort of do there. Thereafter, real estate happened, which was DSK. So that was another kind of a new place to be in, new kind of work. But I think what was important is, the ability to, I think, adapt, because each of these were very different. So you should be prepared to have that kind of an open mind to approach this with the fact that there could be a possibility that you don't know of it, but you're willing to learn. So if that is something that you have, then probably looking at undertaking work which you've never done before can be doable, is what my take would be. Yeah.
Okay. And literally after you saying the 4th order research and you saying that much, I suppose there's a lot of research done by you, a lot. That is for sure.
Well, so yeah, I mean, research is something which is like very integral and a part and parcel of our work that we do. So whether it is with regards to like any update, whether it is with regards to any kind of an agreement that we do. So why is it that we need to include what we need to is something that definitely stems out of researching on that particular topic, on that particular area of law, and just reading about it and knowing more about the same. So, and there are plentiful of course, resources that are available now with the whole technological development happening. The online search databases also that we have provide us with a lot of secondary research data, literature available for us to be able to familiarize ourselves with, all these different areas and practices.
Okay. All right. So now the number one question: if someone wants to follow your profession, what is that one way you would suggest them to follow? I suppose you answered the first one, that's research, and then go multitask the other ones.
Sure. Right. I would say the most important thing, which at least made me follow this profession, was sort of having the passion to pursue it as a career. Because I feel being a lawyer is not a one-day job. It's more like a hike that you decide to undertake right from the beginning. And when I say beginning, I don't even mean to say you have to finish graduation. You can actually start it as early as your first year or say your second year of law. When you decide to take this up as a profession. So that passion has to be there, because that is something which will allow you to sustain it for a long period of time and on a going forward basis without really letting you burn out because of the different challenges that you will definitely face when you are pursuing this as a profession. So have the passion to pursue law. I would say, again, with research goes the fact that you'll have to be a reader. Yes, I know we're in the age wherein, we have podcasts, we have audiobooks as well that we can refer to. I don't know, call me old school or what, but I still prefer sort of reading it. When I have to understand something, I just think the grasping gets a little better when you're actually sitting in front of a text and reading it and understanding it and then probably making notes or writing it down. I don't know, that just works better for me. So, but yeah, so reading, I would say listening again is something which is important, having good research skills. And then professionally, of course, having, maintaining a certain level of integrity, which will definitely show through the work that you do, which will, I'm sure, in turn help you have long-lasting relationships with your client on a going forward basis.
All right. So talking about a journey of as you continued, you were a senior associate at DSK Legal. So could you share that journey of yours, how it was?
Sure. DSK actually for me was very nice, because I had actually interned at DSK as well before I joined them as a senior associate. So this was in my third year, I think, of law school, when I was very fortunate to having worked in the same team with the same partner and the associate as well. So when I was given this opportunity, I grabbed it, and I was very lucky to actually have it. My partner there, Mr. Sajid Suvarna, was really very sort of encouraging. And of course, despite his busy schedule, he would, as much as possible, interact with us, give us his time, and always encourage us to perform better. So he was really not the sorts to, pull you down or tell you about your mistakes. He would always tell us to learn from them, take them as challenges, opportunities, and take it forward. At that time, my immediate senior as well, I remember Saloni, who I was very, again, fortunate to work with. I got a lot to learn from her as well, in terms of being able to multitask different matters at the same time, be very thorough with the kind of drafts that you still end up making, and of course, have a lot of fun as well. So all of this was great. My other team members were also very supportive. So, we sort of used to have each other's back whenever there was a particular tight timeline that we had to meet for one matter. So then we have somebody else backing us up for the other one. So the balance was great. And not only just the team, Mansoor, even the rest of the people in the other teams, across the other teams, were very wonderful, friendly. So the entire atmosphere in DSK as a law firm was very nice and conducive for your own contribution, which helped you in a way to work better. And in fact, it was only at DSK that I realized that, yes, law was definitely something I wanted to pursue, but the whole thing about learning more law happened at DSK, which is when I decided to apply for my master's, and then Columbia happened eventually.
All right. Talking about you going to Columbia and that, has there been any best decision of your life that you're proud of that you have taken? Any one of the decisions if you would like to share?
Right. I would say, I mean, since we are on the topic of course, practicing law, I still feel that is one of the best decisions of my life. I wouldn't go back on that. Given a choice of, say, picking out another profession, I would still say that this is what fits my bill, since it, ticks all the boxes that that appeal to me for the profession that I would want to practice. So, definitely. Yeah, being a lawyer, deciding to be a lawyer is one of the best decisions if I had to say one. And then, of course, academically, the decision to pursue my master's in law first, and then in my business administration, which would be my second master's, was, I would say, even despite me juggling with work, was, yes, challenging, but very fulfilling. So, yeah, ancillary decisions would be those.
All right. Okay. When you started like working, okay, could you like recollect any of the toughest moments of your life over there when you started working?
I mean, yes, there have been challenging times. I wouldn't say no, because when you're just starting out, you don't have much experience about how to go about with drafting, especially when we're in law college or school, we are taught subjects, but when it comes to corporate law, we're not necessarily, at least at that point of time, we didn't particularly have subjects to teach us about the work that we have to do. So there was a bit of disparity and a gap between the academic learnings and what we had to practically do. But like we know, it's always, I mean, there is learning on the job which happens. So thankfully, I had a good team. I had a good partner who sort of realized and knew that he had to be that mentor for me at some point. And I was very lucky to have him. Mr. Dipankar Bandopadhyay is his name. So I started off my law career with him, and he was very good. Again, tried his best to teach me as much as possible. So yeah, so being able to grasp and being able to do the work to the best of your abilities was something which was challenging, I would say, initially. But that doesn't mean you get let down or anything of that sort. Don't let that that imposter syndrome get to you, wherein you start doubting yourself or doubting each and everything that you do. I would say don't do that, even though I did it to a very large extent. Looking back, I would say don't, because it's not necessary. Because as long as you try your best, you do your best, there's always learning out of it, which is something that you can focus on more. So yeah.
Definitely. So while you're like the toughest moments, did you face any kind of thing like that when your internships? Like any tough moments on that? Just want to pop that question up over there.
Internships, internships also, I would say, would be a little less, I would say, strenuous, or the accountability benchmark for you as a part of the firm or the work that you do is a little less. So which is why the pressure is a little less when you're an intern as opposed to when you're an associate. But that doesn't mean that, of course, you don't have responsibilities. You do. Again, the same, I would say, thing about doubting, the kind of research or the kind of output that you're giving was there even at that time. Whether you're asked a question on law and then you research and you come back with an answer, that doubt is there whether that answer is the right answer or not. But like I said, if you've done your research to the extent you've understood the question and you've applied your mind to it, you should be able to explain it. And if at all it is any different, you're only learning from it. So yeah, that would be
all right. Okay, moving on to the next question. You've been in the field of law. So what thought made you to go and pursue MBA?
Okay, so MBA, when MBA happened for me, I was actually awarded a scholarship, a diversity scholarship by SPGen to take this opportunity. And I just took it up as an incredible one, because I mean, literally I seized it wholeheartedly without a reservation, because I thought, why not? I mean, I always have this inkling to learn. And if they are, in fact, telling me, from their end, please come and study with us, I was more than happy to take it up. I believe that also pursuing the MBA was like a natural extension of like I mentioned, my interest in learning. I was always driven by, issues around me, how to tackle those, even if it's happening at a corporate level in an agreement. I didn't just want to sit down and do the role of, deleting a clause or adding a clause. I wanted to contribute more effectively to what I was doing. And I thought that I would be able to do that if I was able to understand the business or the commercial aspect of that particular transaction a little better, which is what I thought an MBA would offer me. The executive MBA was great also because the kind of course which this particular college allowed me to structure was very flexible. So they let me pick two electives from each of the verticals of operations, finance, management. So what happened was I didn't require myself to specialize in, say, marketing or finance. I was able to do something called as a general MBA, which gave me like a bird's eye view of each of these verticals. So say, for instance, then I had to, apply my mind to a transaction. I was able to garner that knowledge from each of these specialities and then apply it on a holistic level. So, which is why, I thought MBA was something I should pursue, and which I did.
Okay, right. I would like to invite Mr. Amirr Virani now to continue the second part of the professional journey and the technology. So over to you, Mr. Amirr.
So Rashna, I'm not covering only technology. While listening to the conversation, I've added a couple of questions which will be like you have conversations. So different questions come up. So like that, don't be surprised. Yeah. So let me begin.
Okay.
My first question will be, how did technology help you in your career, right from your internship to your current position as an associate at ZMC Law?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Virani, for this question. And yes, I think it's a very pertinent one, especially in today's times, wherein we feel that technology plays a very pertinent role, not just for lawyers, but across all industries, as we have already witnessed it. And I feel we're in a place wherein we're going to witness a lot more of the digital, the technology part, basically contributing to the legal profession as a whole, be it for lawyers, be it for law firms, and even for the judiciary for that matter as well. For me personally, right from my internship days, yes, technology has played an instrumental role when it comes to, like I was even discussing with Mansoor, the research part, wherein it was important for us to look up the laws, look up for case laws, particularly citations, commentaries, and all of this was of course available at that time on quite a few, at least a couple of these online databases, wherein we would be able to sort of log into them, get an understanding of that data, of the case based on, say, any key searches that we would undertake. It would give us results for the same. So to be able to, then of course we had to sit down and analyze it at that point of time, which now, of course, on a going forward basis, things have advanced more. So the time that we used to earlier take to actually read through the entire case has been cut down a lot. In terms of, the analysis is given itself. So now we just probably need to browse through that, which is the change between, how technology helped me earlier and probably how it's helping me now. Also, in terms of updates, I would say legal updates was something which I was relying a lot in terms of the technology part. So now, of course, even that is very readily available to you, the legal news, the legal developments which are happening all over. If you just basically subscribe to any of these publications, you are able to access them immediately. And on a going forward basis, now we are definitely exploring the option of adopting these contract management tools, because I think we all know that as law firms, we not just have to focus on the legal part, but even the non-legal aspects need to be taken care of, which sometimes takes up quite a bit of our time, whether we're looking at, sending out invoices, whether we're looking at managing the cases, the client briefs, etc. So, and now as we know in the market, there are plenty of these tools available. So having to adopt them would definitely help us, cut down on the time that we sort of give or contribute to the other non-legal stuff, which we can, of course, in turn then channelize towards doing the real legal stuff. So, yeah.
Good to know that you and your law firm are keen on implementing legal technology on the work-life productivity and increasing your law firm's billable hours. So that is the main motto of any law firm or any legal professional, how you can contribute to the law firm's earnings. So yeah, so different technologies like you said, contract management is there, document comparison there, then PDF is there, CRM is there. So my next question will be how technology adoption helps the legal professional in India.
Sure. Absolutely. I think, like we've been discussing, technology is something which is very important across all sectors. Even for the legal sector, yes. I had actually, done a paper, which was a part of my applied research project. It was a capstone project for my MBA, wherein I had to prove a hypothesis in which I was able to demonstrate that if technology is adopted by a law firm, the turnaround time the law firm would take with regards to doling out either a petition or a contract or a draft of the same would be considerably, and that in turn would also elevate the client satisfaction level. So definitely from the law firm's perspective, technology is very important. Having said that, we are having AI-powered tools, techniques, which are helping lawyers. At the litigation level, we have these amazing tools wherein you're able to analyze your client brief, the case which the client gives you. Based on that, they then help you dole out how many ever similar cases that the system has in place, which are aligned with the facts of that particular matter, be it at the Supreme Court or the High Court or even the lower court levels. So that will then help you in actually, carving out or structuring your arguments for that particular case, which have been similar to the cases that have already been placed before the courts. So for the litigation part, we have that. Even for IP, intellectual property, I believe there are quite a few AI-powered tools in which you're able to track the filings that you've made with regards to your trademark. Again, have a full case status history for the same, and be able to track whichever applications that you've made. They also update it with any objections that have occurred, the next hearing date that will be there with regards to that particular matter as well. So again, for the law firms, for the lawyers, technology is something which is very good. And from the judiciary's perspective also, technology can play a very important role. As we know, Justice Chandrachud, who is our chairman of the e-courts committee of the Supreme Court, he has put it out there to the state governments to actually leverage artificial intelligence in order to make the judiciary more efficient. And hopefully that will also be happening soon. In terms of technology developments, once during COVID, about more than a crore cases were disposed of through virtual hearings. So we all know that technology can definitely help in making, disposing of cases very early on as well. It also reduces the footfalls in the court because then the physical filings can be dispensed with. You can make applications online as well. So all of these things will, I think, as a whole, help the judiciary, the legal profession in India as such, and make it more efficient.
Thank you very much. I will gift you my ebook, and I need for that. That is, I've written for adoption of technology and document workflow. So ebook is there. There are different articles are there on technology and different legal technology tools like document comparison, you did a compare, perfect Power PDF, data transact, which is, since you've worked on different infrastructure transaction deals, the transact tool is there, managing like a law firm doesn't know, okay, when you're working on a Word, there are hidden data inside a document, which is very harmful. And when you send without cleaning your documents, you may face financial losses and your law firm's reputation. So hope this will help you in implementing legal technology in law firms, and you can share it with your legal friends. So moving on, should a professional believe and invest in training and skill upgradation?
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Okay, I'll repeat. Should a professional, not only a legal, HR, or any other professional, should believe and invest in training and skill upgradation?
Oh, absolutely. When we're talking about continuous learning, it would definitely be helpful. Again, like you mentioned, across all verticals. If I were to talk more about a lawyer's continuous learning, law as a subject itself is very dynamic in nature. So that just makes it more of an art rather than a science, I would say. And with changing times, and like Mansoor and I were discussing in the wake of globalization, with laws being formulated on a transnational level, it is important for us to keep up with the changing times. For us to address the growing concerns in a better way, we would need to know what the concerns are. We would need to know the current developments that are happening. And that's where I feel continuous learning would play a very important role. Continuous learning would, of course, include keeping ourselves abreast with whichever latest developments are. I believe law firms are at this point of time undertaking a lot of continuous development programs, including us. What we do is, we encourage associates to write policy updates, to analyze the same, to analyze the implications of the proposed legislations, etc., to get a better understanding of what is in store or what will happen on a daily basis or periodical basis, definitely. There are also certain dedicated knowledge management verticals which specifically focus only on development. These are parts of organizations which actually encourage improved learnings through collaborations as well. Continuous learning could also happen by, there are lots of these seminars, conferences which happen. So if one were to have an interest in that particular topic, area, or subject matter, we could attend those and seek as much as knowledge and information as possible from those as well. And those, I feel, would also be good opportunities to network with people who would come across from different diverse backgrounds as well. So maybe to get their perspective, and that would also be a kind of a learning there.
Wow. So a lot of insights you have shared. So continuing my questions with you, you have the opportunity to work with several mentors during your career. What is the role of mentor in a professional's life?
What is the most important?
I'll repeat my question. You
yeah,
have
I'm sorry, network is
the privilege of being mentored by different seniors in your legal career. So
right.
What is the role of mentor in someone's career development?
Sure. Thank you for the question. Apologies for the intermittent.
Should I? Okay, I'll repeat my question again.
I've heard it. I've got the question. I've got the question. The role of a mentor. So right, no, I wouldn't be able to sort of emphasize less on the fact that a mentor's role is very pertinent in the journey of a lawyer, especially I would say during the nascent stages when we were discussing about the disparity between the academic learnings and the practical ability to actually give out drafts. That's when I would say a mentor or a senior would play an important role in your life to be able to put things in perspective, to be able to sort of not necessarily handhold you, but show you the path that you would probably need to undertake if you are wishing to excel. So I may not, like I said, initially know what a drafts enfold, but if I have that senior support with me who will be sort of willing to allow me in that person's space. So for instance, if I were to give you an example of my own, my senior DSK like Saloni, she used to actually let me sit down with her when she was correcting a draft and allow me to have access to the kind of changes that she's making rather than she just emailing it to me. Of course, time was a factor which was important, but despite that, I mean, I'm really grateful for the fact let me do that. So in whichever possible way, if a mentor is if a mentor can take that extra step or effort to guide their juniors, it would go a long way for the junior as well. And not just I would say for the junior, but I would say for the work as a whole also, it would end up creating a product which is better, because then you're ending up creating something out of collaboration, out of teamwork, and by taking into account different perspectives.
Okay, so ma'am, like while we are waiting for sir, I would really like to ask you a question. I am a fresh law graduate, so like for me, also like I'm very intrigued to know, like while after graduating from law school, how did you like get started with your career and decided what to get into and how to get into?
Right. Yeah, no, I think I faced the same question when I started out, and I was equally sort of not sure of what to take up. But the only thing I knew was that I was open to learning, which is why I decided to, like I said, start off at a place which would offer me that kind of variety, which was, like I said, a general corporate team. They didn't have any sector-specific team, wherein I was able to sort of work on matters across different practice areas. And then probably take it forward based on my interest. So I would say try out, something, and at least that would then give you that kind of clarity of, even if you don't want to do it, then probably the theory of elimination could be applied. That, okay, at least I know what I don't want to do. And then maybe what you want to do will eventually happen.
Thank you, ma'am. So like Amirr sir has joined us again, so he will continue with the conversation.
Sure.
Okay, sorry for this technology challenges which we are facing, but good thing is, okay, Zoom has enabled remotely working. Being a digital nomad after this pandemic has helped us. Becoming a digital nomad, we can work anywhere, anytime, 24/7. So technology has helped us all. So moving on to my next question. You are a very PR person, as I've seen you. So how do you maintain your client servicing and PR, and what steps do you take, and what advice can you give to a budding legal professional?
I don't know how to react to the PR part. I will take it as a compliment if it is one. But no, I mean, yeah, like I think Mansoor and I were discussing, let's see what the essentials for a lawyer are, which I feel are one of them is like the ability to communicate. So I feel, yes, for a lawyer to be able to communicate is something which would be important, which would include speaking as well as writing. So yes, the PR would be the speaking part, which I think you were referring to. So that would be, of course, something that you can develop by engaging more into dialogues, conversations, coffee conversations, something on those lines. And yes, I have mine too. I don't know. And then, of course, the writing would also be, a skill that can definitely be worked on by doing more of it, writing more of articles, analyzing more of cases, drafting. So that is also something I think is important for a lawyer to focus on.
Interesting. So because I'd seen you giving a presentation at IBG meeting, so my next question will be how being a member of association like India Business Group or any other forums has helped you and your law firm.
Right. No, I think it's again very important. It's an extension of, like we discussed earlier, about the continuous learning part, wherein being associated with an organization, like in this case, it would be the IBG, we get a lot of different perspectives of people who belong to different business verticals, and get an understanding of what the current developments are from their end. What is it that their wants are? Because at the end of the day, as lawyers, we are service providers. So we would be able to cater more to the audience, to the needs of the clients, depending on what the client wants. And that want will only be understood by us once we interact with them, once we have a dialogue with them, once we know what it is that they're looking for. So I think IBG is a great platform to be associated with, to participate in their conferences as well. Has been very enriching so far, and the interactions have also led to great associations with different business entities, including your good self. So yeah, overall, definitely, it is something that we would encourage.
What about the legal conferences? Has they helped in your career or getting clients?
Sure. Again, legal conferences also, depending on which topic is the conference about, how is it aligning with your area of practice, how much of an interest do you have in that? If it is again with regards to something to do with current developments, like we're seeing right now, something online for sustainable development is doing the rounds. So we have a lot of conferences with regards to green energy, ESG, electric vehicles. All of that is something which is upcoming. So even if you do not necessarily have a practice area at that point of time, definitely on a going forward basis, attending these conferences would help you at least widen your horizon, improve your understanding of these subjects, and probably how is it that you could take it forward as a practice area for your own firm as well.
Yeah, I'll be seeing you at a Legal Era is organizing a conference in Mumbai on 7th October. We can catch up over there also and continue a conversation. So myself also attend different types of conference and being invited as a speaker. So now continuing my next question, whom do you look up to in the legal world and follow in India and abroad?
Right. I would say there are quite a few, like I mentioned, people who have been instrumental in my life as mentors, as guides as well. Starting off, I would say there would be a couple. I hope that's okay. Starting off, I would say I would constitute two people right at the inception of my decision to take up law would be my mother and uncle, my maternal uncle. Both hold law degrees. They don't particularly practice law. So in a sense, I'm a first generation lawyer. but one is an ex-banker, the other is a CFO. So different verticals, but I've always been inspired by them because their take on the state of affairs and how is it that they used to link the problems to the solutions, being that in some way, if the policies or the legislation would improve or change, would leave me in awe, and we would sort of keep talking about it for hours, which we still do, and that's very inspiring. So in a way, I would say that my mom and my uncle have been instrumental for me. On a going forward basis, of course, it would be the partners that I have worked with, including, like I mentioned, my senior Saloni. She was very instrumental in shaping me as a corporate lawyer, or like who I am at this point of time in my life. And presently also, my partner who I'm working with, Mr. Chinoy, he has been instrumental in terms of shaping me and allowing me to be a lawyer who is not just being able to draft documents, but also able to lead a law firm. So my role has now changed a little from what it used to be at earlier law firms, wherein I was mainly with regards to executing documents. But now, because of his mentorship, his training into allowing me also to manage, administer, and run the firm. So I really look up to him too. Here.
So who do you follow from the law firms as well as corporate legal in India and abroad?
Right. I think India would be, of course, which we all really look up to would be, I think, Zia. She is somebody who we all admire for the work that she does, and it's just enthralling to watch her, to see the kind of work she does, how she manages it still. So she's very inspiring, I would say. And abroad, of course, there it's like, they've always donned different hats together. So I would say Michelle Obama is somebody I really look up to, not just in her capacity of having completed a law degree, but even on a personal level. I think she's an amazing person. So just to follow her is very inspiring.
Interesting. So both of the ladies believe in technology and believe in women power, and you both being part of the same community, Parsi community. Yeah. So now I'll end my series of asking you a question with one last one. Define success in one line.
In one short line, it would be do what makes you happy. That is success for me, because if you are happy doing what you're doing, you will automatically like it and want to do it more, and definitely achieve success. Also try and, like I said, have long-lasting relationships, because at the end of the day, yes, work is important, but that happiness can be derived only if you have that relationship with the person who you're working with. That is important.
So over to Jolly for continuing our conversation on the personal level.
Thank you so much, sir. So ma'am, now we will be proceeding to our next part of the conversation, which is the personal journey, and we would like to know, apart from your professional, how you have so continuing that, my first question would obviously be, how has your professional life and your professional journey has helped you grow in your personal life? How you have been in these 12 years?
Absolutely. It's definitely helped me, I would say. Since, you are sort of devoting a considerable amount of your time in your professional capacity, it always does happen that whatever learnings you have, you end up inculcating those, imbibing those in your personal life as well. So I would say that to a considerable extent, the work that I have done has helped me evolve on a personal level. To start off with, it would be taking into account another person's perspective. because when you're working on matters, you're working in a team, you do have your own set of principles, values that you live to, that you stick to. But it's also important that you take into account what the other person has to say or wants to contribute, and that you learn through your collaboration and teamwork. So yes, I would say the first would be my ability to take into account another person's perspective has gone up. Second would be, you try and see challenges as opportunities. And even in the event of they probably not coming out as anticipated, you don't have to feel sort of let down or disappointed, but let's take them as learnings and let's see what the takeaways from that are. So again, whether it's at a professional level or even on a personal front, many a times things don't go as planned. But that is something I have learned from my work, that even if things don't go as per plan, there is something better in store for you with regards to that, which you may not be able to see at that point of time. But that unflinching faith that you need to have with regards to something being better is very important to hold on to. So that would be my my second. And I guess independence. Yes, I mentioned teamwork, I mentioned collaboration, but also I feel it's important for you to take certain decisions on your own. Have that belief again in believing that yes, this is the right thing for you, and just go ahead with it.
Sure, ma'am. So while you were in law school and you pursued your double masters and everything, what were the important lessons that you learned and picked while going through all those period of time?
So in terms of my takeaways, there would be plentiful. I think the entire journey of doing a master's or doing my MBA itself taught me a lot. It basically becomes like a way of life. It becomes a way of thinking. It teaches you. It inculcates in you a particular way in which you're supposed to be approaching things, because you come to the law school or to the business school with a certain mindset, but because of the kind of training that they give you, they put you on cases, they give you projects, you end up meeting so many people, getting so much of perspective in life, you end up having a rejig of what your understanding is of life. And I think that itself is a very good lesson to have, to learn, to experience, I would say. And if I had to again point out one significant part of it, which I think is a common linkage for me, which happened even at the master's level and even at my MBA level, would be the fact of being able to embrace diversity. When I talk about diversity, diversity is something which is like variety in any form. So when we talk about me embracing diversity at my master's level at Columbia, it was more to do with students, lawyers coming from across different jurisdictions. So that was a different kind of diversity which I got to experience, which was again great. So I thought, when I was doing my MBA, that I was good. Like, I knew all about diversity. I was completely, able to adapt myself to each and every kind of a different person that I would meet. But lo and behold, the first day of MBA, when we had our orientation, I kid you not, to the extent that my knowledge, to the extent my memory does not fail me, there was not a single student in the class who belonged to the same job profile as the other. And that just got me thinking that, okay, like, have they done something on purpose? And that's when the professor actually told us that this was a conscious decision that was taken to ensure that the cohort, that the students who are there all belong to different, fields, sectors, professions, so that we can all come together, learn from each other. And the learnings are definitely then beyond just the classrooms. So, even if you have that kind of self-doubt sometimes, because I didn't belong to like a finance background, I didn't have a commerce background or even a science background for that matter, I felt a little out of place in the beginning for my MBA, thinking that, I don't know what am I doing here. But that's again when the professor told us that, SP Gen does not admit students by mistakes. So be rest assured that, you're here for a reason. And that was sort of a little more comforting and helpful, of course. So, but overall, yes, like I mentioned, the learnings were beyond the classrooms. I've ended up forging relationships for life with so many friends across so many diverse sectors, professions, fields. I mean, they were all there from like finance backgrounds, sales, marketing. We had a CTO, we had entrepreneurs, we had a chef. And I'm like, okay, who else is left? So yes, I would say the diversity part was a very important lesson that I've learned, that I want to emulate now at my workplace also, because like we all know, we all come from different backgrounds, we all have different work experiences, we all have different interests, but it's all about that ability to be able to align yourself with those who are around you, to take their perspectives also into consideration, and then work towards the final product.
And also, like, while you were having a conversation with Mansoor, you mentioned that how the practical disparity between what we are being taught in law schools and what we have to work on in corporate sectors and law firms is a very big gap, which a lot of fresh graduates and law students are facing a difficulty in like understanding. And many a times, like, that might be the reason that they are not as successful, or it is playing a very key and important. So what is your personal opinion, and what is your experience from like while you were shifting?
This is a very important point, very important question, and yeah, in a way a point that you've raised. And it's very practical. It's very much existing right now, because the reason I know this is because we have interns coming in day and day out, on a monthly, quarterly basis. We try to do it long term, but we understand the difficulties they face, because even though on paper you may have studied what the company law says, but the application of the company law when it comes to your drafting gets a little different and challenging then for the intern. And I would say intern is still okay, but like you mentioned, if you're a fresh graduate, then the expectations of a law firm are a little more different and a little higher. The standards are that, which of course, without any fault of the student, unless you intern, you wouldn't know what is expected out of you. And every time, I'm sure the internship may not even be possible, considering the hectic schedules, etc. And I would say, even if the internship is giving you that kind of exposure, having an academic knowledge of it would only better it, not worsen it. So I would also like to tell you that we are in talks ourselves as law firms with schools. We could include your Amity, your JB, your GLC as well, wherein we're looking at least having tie-ups with them to ensure that there are certain modules, or say certain sessions which are held at these colleges for law students, specifically relating to topics or subjects which we feel will help them help them undertake the work on a practical level in a more efficient manner. So the reason we are doing this is because we understand that there is a certain curriculum, there is a certain protocol which the universities need to follow if they want to go about with changing the subject or changing the curriculum. So that will take some time, is what we've been told. So what we've proposed is that at least till the time that fructifies, let's enter into an arrangement wherein we would be happy to come on board and take these certain number of sessions, conferences or talks with the students to help them address their concerns, to help them learn more about the practical aspects of drafting, working, and how is it that will help them when they're actually on the job, rather than just sort of them relying upon their current textbooks, which is helpful in terms of knowing the law. But like we said, knowing the law and applying the law are two different aspects.
Yes, ma'am. If it happens, a big chunk of struggle that a law student goes through will be eliminated in future. So that's a very great initiative on your part as well. Like I'm also like looking very forward to it. My next question to you would be, ma'am, that if you're given an option to choose between the law firm and the corporate legal and commercial industry, what would be your personal preference?
Okay, so yeah, I mean, I would say that that particular question again needs to, tick box. So I'm a very like notebook student, so I make like these questions and then I tick box whichever ones I am able to answer, and then I accordingly pick. So again, between a law firm and an in-house role or a commercial role, I think there are certain parameters which need to be considered before you're able to take that decision. So one would be, of course, what is your area of interest? What is it that interests you as a lawyer or as a legal professional? Is it something to do with M&A? Is it something to do more with a sector-specific role? So it's important that you're able to answer that first. If it is, of course, like I said, a practice area like an M&A, PE, then you would be more inclined to a project finance, banking related work. You would be more inclined to say a law firm which has a dedicated set of team which undertake these matters. So maybe that is your calling. If you're looking at more of a sector specific role, like a media role, maybe you could work in a media house. So in which case then the in-house would be appealing to you. On the other hand, it also depends on, so this is basically the area of interest. Then would be something with regards to what is the scope of work that you want to undertake. So compared to, a law firm, an in-house role would have more of a commercial role. You would also need to advise the management on issues which are not just legal, but also with regards to, say, formulating of their strategies, giving them opinions, solving problems or solving anticipated problems, etc. So strategizing the business of the company. So if that is something which interests you, maybe you can, of course, adopt for a more in-house role. Again, then the third thing to consider is probably what is your motivation? Is it interest? Is it salary? Is it work-life balance? What is it? Of course, it's commonly understood that in-house roles are more, I wouldn't say relaxed, but they're more defined, let's put it that way, in which, yes, there are dedicated hours that you need to allot for the work that you undertake. On the other hand, maybe, a law firm role could be a little more pressing for you in terms of your deadlines, the number of hours that you have to put in. So, yeah, it would be a decision which is sort of collectively taken based on you being able to answer each of these. And finally, then you can decide whether you want to be a part of a law firm or whether you want to, join a company or a corporate house.
Yes, ma'am. So my next question would be like, what do you think, like what opportunity do the people of your generation and the new fresh lawyers and law students are lacking? Like the gap, what is there, what they are lacking, and what you lack at your
Yeah. So I think, like we discussed about, digitization, etc. I think social connectivity is something which you guys are, which of course now even we are fortunate to have. But you guys have it, which we didn't at that point of time when we started out. So I think that is something which has made, working remotely more accessible. The research tools which you guys have are more accurate, I would say. Like, say, for example, if we had to go through like 100 case laws, the system now is more accurate. So you all have to go to, say, probably 25 or 50, depending on the same case searches that we used to do. We probably had to visit the High Court libraries in case we didn't get citations, in case we didn't have the case status or updates. Now all of that is available online in real time. let me emphasize on the real time bit also, which is, I think, great. Also, which is fascinating to me is, this digitization is very dynamic again. So right now we're at a particular point, but, Jolly, say for instance, we have a discussion again about this after maybe 6 months. I am sure there will be more that I tell you, which probably you did not have at this point of time and which has changed further. So, it's like there is an immense impact which digitization will have on the content, the information, the accessibility that we have with regards to the information that that is surrounding us at this point of time.
Yes, ma'am. Like every day, a new technology is being introduced, and we are all struggling to get updated with that.
Absolutely.
Whether it's a Gen Z lawyer or 90s lawyer, whatever you call it. So coming to the next question, like less serious questions, that what is the thing that you like to do in your leisure time now?
Mm-hmm. Leisure, okay, so depends if the time is more or less. If it's more, I like to travel. Traveling is really, I feel, good in the sense it again gives you a lot of perspective about different things in life, how different people are. I like to interact with them, know about their stories, and that's something traveling allows you to do. If the time is short, just go for a small walk, I would say. That helps you again relax, de-stress. I am also associated with quite a few of social organizations, non-governmental organizations like the Theosophical Order of Service, wherein we try and help children with their educational and financial needs. So that committee work also gives me a lot of satisfaction and happiness. So interacting with kids is something I really look forward to doing. So that, and then of course spending time with family, loved ones, which I'm sure we all do. So that's the leisure time.
And continuing the question, what is your real definition of self-time?
Self-time. Okay. Yeah. Self-time is, I feel, definitely something that you allot for your own self, as it's very self-explanatory. But if I had to draw an analogy between what we say for democracy, if we have to say even for self-time, it is like of you, for you, by you. It's just you in every aspect of it. So it is, it should be something that's entailing you into growing, into nourishing yourself. Because they say if the cup is half full, the cup is half empty, whatever that is. I feel that if you just fulfill your cup first and then you're able to sort of pour it out to the others, it's going to allow you to contribute better. And for that, it's important that you know yourself. You're able to connect with yourself first. Try and connecting with the parts in which you know things. When I say no, I mean believe in yourself, have that confidence that there is a part of you where you can do things within a particular period of time. You can achieve it within the deadlines that have been set for you. You can be happy about them. You can love, you can live, and you can do a good job as well at the same time.
Yes, ma'am. So as you mentioned that traveling and working for the NGO is what you like to do in your leisure time and everything. So how do you relieve your stress from work, apart from traveling and working with the NGO and doing the social work for the mental satisfaction and everything? Also, there are stress busters available. So what are your stress busters?
Sure. These things definitely help you relax. Apart from that, of course, sometimes, you are a little tight on your timeline, so you may not necessarily have the time to go out there and undertake these activities, in which case, I just think it's important for you to consciously at that time understand what it is that is giving you that kind of stress or discomfort and disassociate yourself from it. Disassociate yourself from it to give you time to reflect upon it, to look into it, introspect as to what is it that you can do with regards to addressing it constructively. And I think that disassociation is what will give you that space to think about it objectively. And when I say objectively, I mean you will not be bowed down with the emotional part of the stress that that thing is giving you, because you're not in it anymore. So you disassociate yourself, you reflect upon it, you see what it is that you can do with regards to it, then take it on. Also, I think, you know, at least for me personally, after disassociation, I just take a break, close your eyes, do some breathing exercises. There's pranayam, you can do that. That is helpful. Take a small walk, and yeah, that should help.
Also, like, ma'am, one of the very important questions, like when we are discussing your personal life and professional life and how your journey has been, as a woman, what challenges you have faced while working with your clients and in the corporate system and the legal firm and everything?
Okay. So yes, I do also know of the fact that, you know, sometimes that discrimination has happened. I would say, fortunately for me, on the work front, when it comes to working, you know, in an environment or in a law firm, I have thankfully not been subjected to, or at least to my knowledge, I did not feel that, you know, any kind of discrimination happened to me at a level which was because of me being of a particular gender. Yes, we're all humans, we all make mistakes, we all have been pulled up for those mistakes, but again, like I said, it was because I felt it was a mistake that, you know, the reprimanding happened, not because necessarily to do with my gender. But having said that, yes, I can you know, relate to the question to the extent of from what I have been reading, from what I have understood, that that it does exist, and it needs to change. Definitely there has to be a change in approach for it. That can, I think, only change with the realization that it is about the work at the end of the day, and not about the genders which deliver the work to you. So even if we are looking right now at implementing policy decisions or bringing about laws, they cannot be at a superficial level. So to say that, you know, like for instance, the Companies Act has a section in which if a company has crossed a certain threshold, it needs to have a woman director on board. I would say that, yes, that is a compliance requirement, which maybe the company will undertake, but we don't entirely know that factually how much of the input of that woman director would be taken into account. So it is more intrinsic than just having the woman on board. It's actually taking into account how the woman's inputs or how her decisions will actually be taken into account or taken into consideration. And for that, the change has to happen at an organizational level. The change has to happen in the mindset of the people who are sitting on the board with her, who have appointed her, not just because the Companies Act required her to be on the board, but because they saw that promising nature in her as a director to be able to contribute better to the board.
Yes, ma'am. And like, when continuing the question, like talking about you being a woman and like carrying on with everything, how are you maintaining your personal life and professional life balance?
Well, yeah. So, you know, like I mentioned, thankfully, again, since this question has come up, not only professionally, but even personally, I have been very fortunate to not really face that kind of discrimination between. So I have an elder sibling and me, who's a brother. So, but again, not being very fortunate to not having faced that discrimination between, you know, the brother has different duties and the daughter has different duties. Either we both do the dishes or we both don't do the dishes. it's sort of on that front. But yeah, having said that, I think it's very important to have a supportive family, because they are the ones who are able to guide you, nurture you, support you, be with you through your highs and lows. And it's only through them that you're, at least I feel, I've been very fortunate to have that kind of support system to be able to then carry out my professional duties as well. So that's how I think the balance is struck.
It was great having a conversation with you, ma'am. Now I would like to invite Mansoor to carry on with the event and the conversations.
No, I think we're rapid fire.
It's a fun element, ma'am, and we are gonna
I hope there's a passing option in this round. I would pass the questions.
Don't worry, ma'am. We will not be as hard on you as you're thinking.
Fingers crossed.
Okay. So we'll not do it like a option kind of a thing. We'll be very like straight questions. So we'll give you like a choice. Okay. And the choices will come by your end only. So don't worry. Okay. All right. So given the opportunity that you would have not been a lawyer, what other profession you would be and why?
Okay. This one I can answer because it. So I like to write. So, it's like I'm a little on the creative side. So I'm sure I would do something which is allowing me to like craft my own, information, literature. So I think I would be like a writer or a journalist, something on those lines.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, Jolly.
What would be your guilty pleasure?
Okay. In terms of food or like just
ma'am, food and as well as like what you would like to do in your like leisure time.
I have to answer that also. It's going to get me killed. But okay. Yes, I think my mother will also be watching this and she will vouch for it. So yes, I like to go shopping. That is my guilty pleasure. That is also actually a stress reliever, I would say. It's really, I don't know if I should be recommending it, but
it is now.
So yes, that is a big guilty pleasure, I would say. Yes, I'm trying to work a little more towards making it rational and sticking to the rule of thinking over something that I have to buy for like 2 weeks. Then if I still want to buy it, I go ahead and buy it. Not been very successful, but I'm working towards that part. So that, and I think in food it would be pastry, so chocolate cake.
So, are you a fan of Theobrahma?
Absolutely. Kainaz is like, she's like, oh, you're back. And I'm like, yes, I'm back.
So we'll continue coffee at Theobrahma with Kainaz.
With Kainaz. That would be wonderful.
Organize that.
On me. Done.
I'm also a fan of Theobrahma, and yes,
we're all very, very grateful for Theobrahma to exist. Yes.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right. You last time when I was having this conversation with you, you said that you watched the show Partner Track on Netflix, right?
You remember that?
Yes, I did. I did watch a few episodes also on that particular part. So I came up with this question. Given one day to live any character's life, whose character would you like to live and why?
I think hers only. Now, what was her name? I forgot.
In Hindi or something, right? I don't remember her name either.
So I had seen it like ages ago now. So even I'm not very. She was a Korean, I think.
Yes, she was a Korean. An American actress, the Korean one.
Her character name was Ingrid. Yeah.
Ingrid,
but I don't know the real name. Yeah. because it's very relatable, like, certain situations that she's in, if you see those, and when I see those, I'm like, oh, this is something that has happened to me. Like, in terms of, I remember one instance wherein she's trying very hard to get her partner's attention and time for discussing a matter, and it literally starts from she trying to get his attention and time from office. He says, no, I don't have. So then they go to the car. She's like, I'll travel with you also till where you're going, just to discuss this point with you. Again, he's too busy. He literally then takes her on the flight to the next destination where he's going. And she finally gets to speak to him on the flight for that time. So of course, I had that thought, and I was like, yeah, but my visa should have been in place if I were to ever be in that situation. Otherwise, yeah, the struggle is real and the same. Right.
So like, what do you choose between Netflix and chill or like traveling? You mentioned traveling like is your favorite part time, but also like at times when we want to like spend the Sunday in our bed being cozy, and also what is your personal preference?
Yeah, no, I mean that also, yes, is there where you do just sometimes not feel like that time maybe the Netflix would work, but if just given an option, between Netflix and traveling would be the selected option for sure.
All right. So
Good.
no, last last question. And we end it.
It's not bad so far, huh? These questions.
It's going good. It's going good. Don't worry.
It's going good.
Okay. If you have to summarize yourself in a few words, okay, what would it be?
You mean like just words, or you mean like, I mean, sentences, or like
Just words.
One word,
not sentences.
One sentence.
Yeah.
One sentence.
Yeah. Okay, so it's like one sentence.
So difficult, yeah. How to do that?
Like whatever thing comes up.
One word you can like. Rashna refers to like, see how I say myself, like Amirr, awesome. So one word like awesome Amirr. So what do you define? Like
this awesome is very easy. I also want to say.
No, now you can't say it.
That is for me.
Why not? I think this awesome is perfect.
It's all out of the rules.
No. I would say like what do I say? I am curious, I would say. Also I am a little in terms of nerdy. I am sensitive, I am empathetic and helpful, and if that's any or we could do like another round or another session on my personality, like let's then I'll prepare for that. Or you want only like, oh, so you wanted only one word, is it? Or like this is okay?
See, another series is there, Rubaru.
Acha.
Yeah, so that will have at Theograma.
Works for me.
So that is when you organize that, and we will be your guest.
Why not? Let's have it. Most looking forward to it.
Looking forward.
All right. So that was the end of the question. We put you out of your torture, so don't worry.
Done.
All right. I would like to now invite Mr. Amirr Virani to give the vote of thanks.
So Rashna and my team, Mansoor and Jolly, it was a very satisfying conversation which we had, and I see the smile. So this conversation will be remembered by all of us, and including your fan followers, including your mom will enjoy having this beautiful conversation. This will be a lifetime memory, and for me also, because I changed the questions during listening to your early conversation which you were having with Mansoor and the list also, and me being you helped me develop impromptu questions. So that is you have contributed to my journey, Rachna. So to our community partner, the India Emerging Forum, Lions Club of Mumbai Shining, and our team at the Emerging India Forum, Deepika, and all those who have given us this opportunity to have conversation, and our technology partner, Plan for a Solution, which I'm a legal tech evangelist at that company. So we will be helping you in all your, not only legal technology, it is how we have come up with this program, which I was discussing with you during our IBG meet, helping the Gen Z executives, not only lawyers, it is Gen Z team members with the right technology and training solution, which will help increase the billable income of a company, as well as improve the work-life productivity. So which we have seen during our surveys and everything, that is a need of the hour to help them with the right technology tools, which the sad part, many companies don't implement, and people have to do with manual processes, outdated technology, in spite of the pandemic, which has forced many people to adopt new technology, but still there are, and this is a huge task. That's why we have this coffee, which we have come up with a part of technology questions to help, and you being have answered so beautifully, okay, by we have facing and we want to implement the right technology to help. And the AI part, the artificial intelligence, that was very beautiful. You have so much keen and awareness about the technology part, the artificial intelligence, and yeah. So ending our coffee, let's take a snapshot with our coffee mugs. So everyone.
Thank you.
Mansoor, where is yours? Put it in the camera far.
Is it okay?
Little up. Yes.
Yeah.
Mansoor, yours not coming properly. No, yes. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
So we will.
Yeah.
Let us. Yeah, we will meet up at your drama.
Definitely.
Yeah, that will be happen to you, and Mansoor will connect with you, and so.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome to come to our office.
Virani.
So let's continue our conversations, and happy ending. This is the emerging lawyers series which we have started interviewing, having a conversation. So we don't name it interview. That's why we have named it Coffee Conversation with KC, which Karan Johar has inspired us to have conversations. So as you said, it's all about having relationship. So conversation all about relationship, which we have maintained during our conversation on your personal, your professional, having a fun element, and continuing this relationship. And there was a surprise which Mansoor will discuss with you. So see you. Sayonara.
Thank you very much, Mr. Virani. It was a pleasure being on this forum with you, Mansoor and Jolly. I think it's a very beautifully curated program, and I am really lucky to be a part of this. And I look forward to many more such interactions with all of you guys. And it was really good. It was really good. So thank you so much for it.
God bless you.
It was a pleasure having you on board, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Rashna. It was awesome. Great chat, guys. Take care.
Thank you, Mansoor. Take care.
Bye. Bye.
Bye.